Hello and welcome back to Project 380. On today's episode I'm going to be correcting something that I found wrong with the door in the last episode. So before I go diving into the door, please make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Unbelievably, 70% of my viewers aren't subscribed, and it does mean a lot to me. And don't forget to hit the bell button to keep you notified on when I've got a new video out. Now with that out of the way, it's on to the doors. In the last video I fitted these custom door cards, but the problem I've got is behind these. So I've just got to remove these. It's just a few bolts. If you want to learn how to take off the standard door cards, go check out my previous video. Yeah. So last episode I found a few things odd with the driver's door, but not the passenger door. And these things are pretty obvious now when I look back at them. But the first thing I noticed that was odd was the power wires for the window motor. There's no plug on it and the wires are exposed, so that is a clear sign there's something wrong. And the next thing that I found wrong is the two bolts up here. I'll take you in for a closer look and you'll see it's pretty obvious now. So these two bolts stood out a mile off, as they're silver and not the coated type like the rest of the nuts and bolts are. After a little bit of investigation, they do absolutely nothing. While I was playing about with the passenger side, I realised that these two holes had nuts in them with studs protruding from the other side. And after a little bit of investigation I found a plate behind here with threaded holes in them. So I naturally turned those bolts around that I did have in here and bolted those into the threaded holes. I found then that the window would not go up and down, so then I thought there must be something wrong. So after a deeper look into what is wrong and a bit of googling, I found out that the previous owner had put a Mark 1 window mechanism into this Mark 2 door. So nothing was working properly, everything was free moving, nothing's bolted in, and it's doing whatever it wants to do. So I ordered myself a Mark II window mechanism and a Mark II motor, as I'm pretty convinced the motor that's in here is going to be from a Mark I because of the electrical wires. So now I've got to take the window out again, and then I'll show you how to remove the mechanism and the motor. Now to remove the incorrect parts, I'm going to start off by disconnecting the wires, which usually would be a clip, but they're just spade connectors so they could be pulled out. Now if it was the correct part, you would have two nuts up here and two nuts underneath, but this is a dead giveaway. I've only got one nut and that is underneath. And for the motor it's just two nuts over here, but I believe the Mark II standard motor should be three nuts. In my case, as I've got the MB1, I need to remove this metal bar which runs the whole height of the door, as the motor sits the other side of the bar and I can't get it past the bar and out of the hole. To remove that bar I need to come to the top of the door and remove this Phillips screw in between the window seal here. Now you can carefully pull the window seal out of this metal bar. Once that seal is out the way, it will reveal another screw. That also needs to come out. And then there's just 2 bolts holding it in. One up the top here, and one down the bottom. Once that's all undone, you should be able to pull this black metal bar out, but be careful of the quarter window as that might fall out as well. Now with all that out of the way, hopefully I should be able to get the mechanism and the motor out of this hole. Now I've got it out of the car, the Mark 1 mechanism and motor is on the right, and the brand new mechanism for the Mark 2 and the second-hand motor is on the left. Quite a noticeable difference. 2 studs on the correct one and only 1 on the Mark 1 one, and 2 studs at the top, whereas the Mark 1 one has got a plate with threaded holes. So the new Mark 2 kit does require a little bit of assembly. So the new mechanism and motor is all built up. I found it particularly difficult to assemble this bit where the wire wraps round one way and the other wire wraps round the other way. That was quite difficult to get the wires the right length, twist it over and get it all in. So I didn't film that bit, but I have got an old mechanism to show you roughly how it should go. The pack should come with ends like this, so you need to put the spring on first, and then the little plastic adjuster, and then into the crossover bit. And then you have to carefully wind it round the drum in the middle, but you have to get the wires the right length or else it won't go in, or it will go in but you'll have loads of slack cable on one side. Once that's all done, all you've got to do is pop on the back plate and you just have to push over the metal tabs to secure it on. So now the new mechanism and motor could go back into the door. If I would have looked at both doors at the same time, I would have realised that there was 3 bolts to the motor instead of the 2 bolts that were used here. So now it's just time to check that the motor and mechanism work before I put anything else back together. I'm really happy with that, it works really smoothly, and I've actually got a plug this time. Now I've just got to put the metal bar back in and I can put the window back in. So that is the new motor and mechanism all fitted and all working great. It has actually cured another problem. I always had a gap right up the top corner of my window between the seal of the roof and the window, but now, because I'm guessing this is all in the right place, it's solved that issue. There's no gap anymore. This isn't something particularly I wanted to do, but when I took all this apart and I found there was a problem, I wanted to rectify it before moving on to anything else. So join me next time where hopefully I won't find anything else wrong and I can get on with some exciting stuff. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.